A new report paints a stark picture of wage equality in America. It forecasts that nationally, the gender wage gap will close in, get this, 2058. That means women won't get equal pay for 43 years. In some states, they will wait much longer. Federal data shows women now earn 78 cents for every dollar a man makes. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger is with us. Jill, good morning.
Good morning. I do not like this study.
Yeah,
I know.
So I'll be 84.
Yeah, and that may be the positive one, because you may have to be dead for a century, because there are some states where it's even worse.
Why does this still exist?
Well, you know, there's a lot of different reasons, but the real core of this study was to look at not just Census Bureau data and Bureau of Labor Statistics data, and look at how many women are actually participating in the labor force. So there's a few different factors that go in. I think it persists because of some obvious problems and biases in certain industries. Women are choosing some lower paying professions. That can be a problem. We haven't really populated those really high wage jobs like STEM, science, technology, engineering, math.
I appreciate all of that. But as we saw even in the case of Mary Barra, who's the CEO of GM, that she was paid less than their predecessor, even though she'd been at the company for nearly 30 years.
Yeah, and I think that this is really one of the critical aspects of this study, which is at every level, whether it's education, whether it's gender, race, and in different industries, women seem to get paid less. So, yeah, sure, women will off-board, they'll leave the labor force, they may come in and choose flexibility over comp.
So
but
how
they're still
do
there.
we accelerate this so that this wage balance happens quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you look at the economics of this, and we look at other nations where the wage gap is much narrower, in other developed nations, what do they have that we don't? They had a robust child care system and a maternity leave policy that is much more generous. So experts say that's the missing component in the U.S. economy.
I just don't think it. I think that's part of it. I just think it's pure bias, and I think that employers value men more than women. I do, and they think that they have their value is greater than a woman's value. I mean, there's a wonderful story Dee Dee Myers tells in her book when she became the first female press secretary in a Democratic administration for Bill Clinton, you know, a party that claims it's for wage equality. And she went into the chief of staff and asked why she was paid less. And the chief of staff said to her, well, because you don't have a husband and kids, that I don't need to pay you as much as the previous press secretary.
Now, I want to be clear.
Bias.
Okay, but I want to be clear about this, that this study is not talking about natural bias and the cause. It really isn't. And I want to also be very aware of the fact that there are problems about women. We've talked about this. We've had guests on this show who talk about women who don't actually argue for themselves. They don't ask for wages. And interesting part of this study found that while there are increases as you go up the education scale and there are disparities, interesting, single women who never get married, the wage gap is narrowest. So that does tell you something there also, that maybe those employers are valuing single people because they're not scared of those folks leaving the workforce.
It just shows we have a long way to go.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of work to do. Thank you, Jill Schlesinger.